After winning the national championship last year and losing 15 guys to the NFL draft earlier this spring, I think most would assume that the Georgia Bulldogs would take a step back in 2022. But the way I see it, breaking down the team, looking at all the position groups, it's hard for me to find one glaring weakness on this team, right? There's not a ton of weak links on this team, as you know, we have 3 months left before the season opener against Oregon in Atlanta, Georgia. But what do you think is the biggest weakness on this team right now? Offensively, I think there are some question marks, but the first group that I think of is the defensive line and inside linebacker. Listen, you lose Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Quay Walker, one of them being a first rounder in Quay Walker, one of them being the leader on the defense, best linebacker in college football, and then Channing Tindall, who has a crazy sky-high potential at the NFL. It's hard for me to tell guys like Jamon Dumas-Johnson, Tresman Marshall, and others, Smile Munden, hey, go be that good next year, right? I think it's only safe to assume that they take a step back. Now, they still could be one of the best inside linebacker units in the SEC, at least, because there is so much talent there. But to assume that they're going to pick up right where those guys left off, I think is just unrealistic. So at inside linebacker, I think they do take a small step back. On the defensive line, yeah, they don't have another Jordan Davis on the roster. I'm not sure they have a Devonta White on the roster. They still have Jalen Carter, one of the best players in college football. But do they have a Trayvon Walker behind him? I don't think so. Guy was number one in the NFL draft to the Jaguars, right? So losing three big-time defensive linemen from last year, I think it's only, safe to assume that that group is going to take a step back. The secondary, I think, will be better. Yeah, losing Lewisine Hurts, Darian Kendrick, made a lot of plays for them at cornerback, but he's replaceable. William Poole, guy who made a lot of plays in the national championship game, came back for his 6th season. Christopher Smith, pick 6 against Clemson, had a great year last year. He's coming back for his 5th season. Dan Jackson, a guy with experience, coming back. Keely Ringo, cornerback, big-time playmaker, could be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft last year. We saw him clinch the national championship. He's coming back. You've got a lot of young guys eager to get into the starting rotation and push for playing time. So the secondary, I think, is only going to get better, even though they did lose Lewis Seen and Darian Kendrick. Offensively, there's going to be a lot of guys who continue to point to Stetson Bennett and say that is the weak link on the offense. I would get it. It's not the offensive line, who I think it's going to be better and one of the best units in college football. It's not the tight end room. It could be the running backs. If Kenny McIntosh or Kendall Milton get hurt for a significant amount of time, they could be in trouble there. And a wide receiver, question marks, not sure it'd be the weakness, but people just want to see something different from Stetson. At least some people still do. He does not have ideal arm strength or size. He doesn't flash as much as maybe some other quarterbacks might be able to do on the roster. But the guy's a winner. The guy's a leader. There's a reason he's playing. He just led them to a national championship. I don't want to hear that this guy is the weakness on the team. A wide receiver, A.D. Mitchell has proven himself. Ladd McConkey's proven himself. Eric Gilbert is a game changer. Those 3 guys are as reliable as it gets, especially if Eric Gilbert continues to improve and get better and get back to the player that I know he can be. If Don Blaylock can stay healthy, if Arian Smith can stay healthy, those are 2 possible game-changing guys. I mean, Don Blaylock was a game changer 2 years ago as a freshman. Arian Smith is one of the fastest players in college football. If those guys are healthy, then Georgia could have one of the best receiving cores, really, however you want to call it, not only in the SEC, but in college football. Kearis Jackson, a veteran, a guy people continue to forget about. He can make plays. He's explosive. He's got hands. He can make plays. Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint was a solid 4-star recruit coming in a few years ago. He's a veteran now. Great blocker on the edge. The dude knows how to push defensive backs backwards in the run game, but he can catch the ball as well. So I think there's a lot of promise, a lot of potential at wide receiver. The offensive line, losing Jamari is not great. Justin Schaefer had his ups and downs, but he was still drafted and was a multi-year starter at guard. Cedric Van Pran, one of the best centers in college football. Broderick Jones, who I think is going to fill in at left tackle, could be one of the best left tackles in college football. Healthy Tate Radledge is going to be a big deal if he can come in and solidify one of those guard spots. Warren McClendon, as reliable and consistent as it gets on the right side. This will be his 3rd year starting. So overall, they've got plenty of guys who can play and play at a very high level on the offensive line. I think that's going to be a very, very strong group. At running back, I mentioned a little bit earlier, if Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh can both stay healthy, I think they're going to be just fine there. Daijun Edwards can run the ball. I think he's probably the best third guy off the bench running back in the SEC, maybe in the country, but he can play. When he gets in there in garbage time, we saw last year, the guy runs hard, he stays balanced, makes guys miss in the second level. If you give him a hole, he's going to run right through it quickly. He's a guy who I think will get some touches next year. And between those three, and you've got two really talented freshmen coming in as well who might get some carries in garbage time. But those three, if they stay healthy, I think they'll be just fine at running back. So again, looking at this team, there's not a whole lot of weaknesses. The defensive line is going to be good. It's just going to be full of new faces, new names for the average Georgia fan who doesn't know the entire roster, right? At linebacker, lots of young talent, but they're inexperienced. Are they going to be Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Channing Tindall? Not next year, unless they really blow it out of the water. Glenn Schumann knows how to develop. He knows how to produce and get the most out of his guys. So eventually, I think whoever plays and earns playing time is going to get better and better and better, probably week by week, the more they play. So it's hard to call them a weakness when they're being coached by one of the best in college football and a guy who knows how, to develop his players. So I'm not worried about those guys really. But the defensive line, someone's going to have to step up, whether it's Zion Logue, Nazir Stackhouse, anyone. I mean, it's up for grabs. Maybe one of the freshmen come in and earn some playing time, but Jalen Carter's going to need some help. If we want to see the same Jalen Carter we saw last year in 2021, who was really, really good. I mean, just so consistent and powerful and destructive. The guy can really do it all. I think he's going to have a very, very good NFL career one day, but for him to be at his best, he needs someone beside him who can still take on a double team and leave him in a one-on-one situation. Other guys who create penetration in the background to where the running back, quarterback, whoever kind of has to lean to Jalen's side. He beats his man easily, makes a tackle in the backfield. So someone needs to step up. Don't know who it is going to be right now. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is a guy who I think could really surprise some people this year, have a breakout type of year, but maybe it's the defensive line or inside linebacker. Those are the two question marks the biggest question marks I have on this team. Outside linebacker, they're fine. Nolan Smith, Robert Beal, plenty of talent behind them. MJ Sherman, Xavier Sori looking to get some playing time this year. So overall, when you go into a season and you're trying to figure out, does this team have what it takes to win a championship? You go position by position, or at least I do, and try to find the weakness. What could prevent them from having another special season and making a championship run? Is it the lack of depth along the defensive line or an inside linebacker that causes them to take a step back defensively and causes them to maybe possibly get upset? I mean, we have looked at the schedule over and over in these videos, and I do think that Georgia should be favored to win every game in the regular season. But is it, are they not good enough at inside linebacker, defensive line? Maybe at other places, running back, wide receiver, quarterback, possibly. I don't think those are glaring weaknesses, but is it enough to beat a team like Alabama, who is going to be coming full force at Georgia? They have a bad taste in their mouth from that national championship game. They're going to be better. Is Georgia going to be better? I think it's possible if everyone plays up to their potential, but again, any program that loses 15 guys, to the NFL draft or just loses them, to graduation or transfer or whatever. I mean, a lot of guys did transfer away from Georgia, but we're talking about the guys that actually played and made an impact last year who they are going to miss. Any other program, takes a giant step back, multiple steps back, but with Georgia, I still think they're a top 3 team going into the season, and I still expect them to make a championship type of run, compete for one, play for the SEC championship and a playoff spot and possibly further. But do you think there's one position group that might be holding this team back? What do you think it is? We love looking at the comment section after these videos. Y'all are awesome. So please comment below. Let us know what you think. Again, thanks for watching the videos. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now. I will see you over on Dog Post.